Welcome back to the Radio Podcast.
I think that's what people actually join this for, is just to listen to you say that. And then they turn it off.
I'm not gonna lie, because you uploaded them all to YouTube, I just listened to the first 3 seconds of all of them, and I was like, well, I have to do that forever now.
Yeah.
Like, if I don't do that, how are we starting a podcast episode?
Some of them have a lot of views.
Really?
Yeah, there's like 2 of them that have like 600 views. We don't have that many.
Oh my gosh.
We have like 53 subscribers on there. So I'm like, hello?
Shit, dog.
We'll see what happens, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of exciting.
I'm also excited, and now I'm like nervous.
I know, because YouTube's mean. We got our first hate comment.
Yeah,
I did delete it, but like it's just, it's one of those things where I was like, we're attracting male attention now.
Yeah, I actually get my editor on my like Twitch related YouTube channel to delete all of the hate comments because people are chodes for no reason.
They're so mean for for just no reason.
And it's just like, actually, okay, this is welcome to the podcast, by the way. Happy every day. Oh, yeah. I don't know what day you're listening to this podcast, but I was thinking about, you know how like people are just awful on the internet, but then like being awful attracts all sorts of attention, like either by people like clapping back at people being awful, or like people dogpiling being awful on top, or like whatever. Yeah. And I thought to myself, you know, it would be really chill if we just stopped engaging entirely. Just like,
no, I agree.
Paid it zero mind. Just stopped, because it's so boring, you know?
I think it's actually appropriate that you're saying that, because this episode is about the bad of our jobs and dealing with the hate online. Like when we were cam models, you couldn't, like, yes, you could block people and stuff, but those comments still like sink in. I love social media for being able to just block and delete comments. I think that there was like some social media platform where you couldn't delete comments at some point or something. I don't know, but I'm very appreciative of that, because people are just like really savage on the internet. It's insane. This
is probably one of the good tidbits about the bad, a silver lining, if you may. But I think being in sex work actually taught me the power behind just completely excluding people from my space. Like, I think I used to like people please a little bit more, you know, and then now it's like the slightest shift in vibe. If you were even minutely annoying, axe.
Yeah.
Like I'm like that on Twitch. People are like, did he break any rules? Or did that person like, no, I just didn't like him.
I love that.
Wasn't down. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's something about my, like, especially when I first started, camming, there was like an ego that was blocking me from being able to just delete, where I was like, I need to respond. I need to tell them how I feel. You know, I wasn't picking my battles, in my opinion. I was just like, let's fucking fight them. Which, like, you know, only lasts so long, and also it's like exhausting.
It's so tiring
to do it. It's so tiring. Yeah. And like, I want to like say, because like I think that's what snap roasts were. You know, it's just like, I'm gonna start talking shit back.
That's different. You know what? Oh my god, have we talked about your snap roast? We have, right?
We talked about them last episode. We're gonna do some. I think that's what our last episode should be. Which is just us reading our DMs.
Yes. Again, we'll bring it back, because we did that one time many time ago. No, those are the best. And as much as like, okay, yes, I see where you're coming from. They were coming from a place of like, you couldn't just let it lie. Like you had to continue to draw attention to it. Like it was taking your energy. I was eating that shit up. That was a service. You provided a service.
I still will go back and like read mean comments that I've sent people, and I'm like, or I'll have screenshots of like mean things that I've said, and I'm like, damn, I really got them. Even if I blocked them before they could read it.
Yeah.
I was like, no, you're just fuck with me.
Like it's like a public sacrifice for fun.
Yeah. Like someone the other day commented and said something on Twitter and said like, you know, you never post it. I never see you anymore on here. You don't need to post a naked picture. Just like post you in like a sundress or something, and make sure you smile in it. I was like, I'm not gonna fucking post for you.
You're like, if you want custom content,
that's what I said. Me. Go to my fucking OnlyFans. That's what I have it for. Also, I'm on one today, so if you hear me be a little bit more aggressive than normally in our podcast, it's just because I'm fired up.
Yeah, and if you're into it, you owe her $20.
Yeah. Cash App, $ little cheeky baby.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, nothing in this world for free.
Asha T, I think you have to give us something before we get into this episode.
Yes. Okay. So on a rarely serious note, we are going to be going through sort of the bad. We're going to be doing like the good, the bad of our jobs. Today we're doing the bad, and we have to preface this with a heavy trigger warning. We're going to be talking about food, body image related disorders. probably some like trauma stuff. We may be getting into some sex related trauma stuff. Like there is a lot of heaviness. It's probably no surprise, but there's a lot of shit underneath kind of the hood here. And I just have to say, if you are a sensitive listener, if this is not the right time for you to be listening to potentially triggering content, please do dip, go rewatch another episode or catch us in the next one. Take care of yourself first and foremost.
Yes. Thank you, Ashley
That's
T.
what's up. Let's talk some shit.
What's up.
Yeah.
I need like a guitar riff to come in after that. The bad.
Like two girls laughing their asses off, about to say some of the most dramatic shit you've ever heard in your entire life.
And we're like, hee hee. We love trauma.
If that ain't the camgirl experience, though.
Yeah. No, it really is. It really fucking is. I was just telling someone the other day.
I profited off my trauma.
Yeah. I was just telling someone the other day that, well, I forgot what I was going to say, so we'll just keep going. That's the trauma.
Like, when Kenzie says she's on one, she means another planet. She's actually not here presently.
I'm actually not in this fucking galaxy. I'm on my home base, and it's just,
yep.
It's not it, It's just been a week. It's been a whole lifetime.
It's been a minute.
That's for sure. It just has. It has been,
It just so have I. I'm a has-been.
And I've always said that. That's my new bit, by the way. That's what I've been saying to like random things, is just saying, and I've always said that. Like my dad the other day was like, I love like when you have like the first sip of beer, because he always goes like afterwards. And I was like, and I've always said that. He's like, have you? I was like, yeah, I have.
Yeah.
I think everyone
you're gonna have to. This is the tension breaker, by the way. You have now introduced the way that we diffuse really, really horrible things. You just throw in. And I've always said that.
I've always said that. But I'm gonna say it like if I'm having like a deep conversation with a man and I'm trying to figure out where our relationship's going, and he says, "No, I actually don't want to keep seeing it." And I've always said that.
Always said that. I've always said that, actually. This whole time.
Yeah. It's been verbalized. You just haven't heard it yet. Speaking of things that haven't been verbalized, we're talking about the bad today. Last week, we talked about
and
the good.
Speaking about not verbalizing them, I just want to say, I honestly am nervous at the moment, because this is like a common thing for sex workers, but it's really challenging for us, especially in the face of like so much stigma and dehumanization. It's really challenging for us to air our grievances about the job, especially when they're actual grievances. Like it's one thing to pop off and be like, oh my God, like people are so annoying, or like, I don't know, like I have, my work takes a lot of time. Like that's one thing. And even that's met with like, get a real job, like that, just the surface level of like, it takes me time to do my job. People are like, no, it doesn't. Like, but the second you, but the second you bring in like, yeah, you know what, it's complicated. Like I like my job, but am I like, are my previous experiences that were fucking horrible, like playing into this? Like, did this make my eating disorder worse? Was I doing this because I was fucking abused? If you're like, you know what, yeah, there's parts of it that are, people are quick to be like, see, all y'all are fucked up.
Yeah.
Are all of us fucked up? Maybe, but like, but it's not why we were just probably like that beforehand.
Honestly, it's been. I think it's been the right path for a lot of people that are fucked up from they get to re-own their own sexuality or their own traumatic experiences. They're in charge of their own job and who they let into your room and your space and stuff. So I definitely think that the fucked up part was probably already there, but if anything gives you a space to just be like real with yourself about anything that you have experienced that was traumatic.
Yeah,
I think we have a lot more access because of like the amount of people that are in the industry and do experience mental health issues, that it's a lot easier to say those grievances online because you have other people being like, yeah, I get it. Like fully understand. Yeah.
And a lot of us get it. So like, obviously we can't speak to everyone's experiences, and I'm sure you and I can just kind of, we have enough experience. I've experienced enough. I don't know about you. But like I've had enough experiences, just like overall for the most part.
Yeah.
We have plenty of shit we can say, but then like, they're also shared sentiments. A lot of the mental health issues that we experience are shared sentiments. Just
true.
within friend groups, within, what do we call ourselves? Colleagues?
Lovers.
That's way more accurate.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Yeah, our computer shut the bed a little bit.
Yeah.
So, how we say? I think one of the big topics around camming, one of the things that we tend to tout as like a positive, it's already come up, is like reclaiming our sexuality. Why? Why reclaim?
Good question.
I'm reclaiming my sexuality from who or what? Don't ask me that question. That's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? That's terrible. This is an interesting one. Okay. I have noticed I was going back through like really old shit, and I found some like photos of me and like posts on Facebook from like before I started camming. And then I found a line from like one night, like after I had started camming. And I was definitely like being hot, like for nothing, for no money.
Yeah, for no reason.
Like trying to like be hot for like what, for my Facebook friends? That's weird. I obviously had like a need to be perceived in this way. And then once I started camming, once I started sex work, I was like, I'd actually like to like, it took some time though. It took some time. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think like lots of us got the shit stick when it came to like intimate relationships, right? And I came to camming after I had been dealt the shit stick big time.
Yeah. I think that you're probably, there's a lot of people that can relate to that.
Absolutely, yeah. I was in a scenario where like I was blamed for I was blamed for being perceived in a certain way. Like a person who really fucked me up for like no good reason. Essentially put the onus on me for the way that I was treated by him, like, it's your fault that these things happen because you look this way, because you look, so good, blah, 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 whatever. And that made looking a certain way or like acting a certain way, expressing sexuality, super fucking dangerous. But I still had that need there, right? Like I still wanted to express myself. I was doing that before I started camming anyway. It's kind of I don't think it's super uncommon to want to be hot. But I didn't feel safe anywhere really, you know? And then when I found camming and I realized that I could like do the dance literally and figuratively, but with no one else in the room, but I could still get that response, and get paid for it.
Did you feel like the internet was a safe space for you to go to after being in a space that wasn't safe?
Yeah, absolutely. I totally do. And like there are risks, but like, when people say like, oh, there's risks associated with sex work. Yeah, first of all, thanks. I've dealt with them. But like when someone's like, oh, there are risks. And I'm like, you are underestimating the word risk. Like risk before was bodily safety. Like if you're talking about being like found out for having a job, that's a risk I'm willing to take because I would like to feel safe doing these things without fear of like literal bodily harm.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
I think that's a very good point.
Yeah. But you get wrapped up in it a little bit, don't you? After a certain point.
Yeah, I think that you get wrapped up in the internet, like being hot on the internet very easily. I think especially for our generation, because we were just like kind of born into it, and it was, we grew up with the internet, so I think it was a safe space for a lot of people, and it was easy to access, and even Omegle and chat roulette were a safe space for me to go to because I had control over it. I think that's one of the biggest things, that you could log off anytime. I love that. I know that it's not very PC, but I love that that it was like Tyler the Creator, I think, and someone was like talking about internet bullying, and he's like, just log off. Like, what are you doing? Which is not realistic because
not anymore. It was at some point though.
But it's so real for our jobs, at least for camming, to just log off if you're not feeling it, because like, people be back
I'm
tomorrow.
gone then.
And then brush it off your, let it fucking roll off your back, because I mean, it's just it's the game. Like, it is, I don't know. It's the job.
Yep. It is. It's an interesting job. And I think in an attempt to like I said, like, or what we tried to say, people say reclaiming sexuality. Okay, so if I felt like expressing sexuality was no longer safe, it was now sketch territory. Yeah, when people talk about reclaiming sexuality, if I was doing it because I didn't feel safe, physically safe elsewhere, and the internet was like, "Oh, sick! I can like do this and get that. Where so I can be that girl. I get a space to be that girl or whatever." As much as you are reclaiming it, you also very quickly create a hypersexualized version of yourself. Like you have to. It's for the job, but it's hard to separate that at first. I think like if you already have a really fucked up basis for like what being sexual means, complicating a job and a persona, a character in all of that, like, okay, we get real messy really fast. It's not as simple as like I'm reclaiming my sexuality. It's a nice thing to say, but it's way messier than that.
I'm not gonna lie, I think that the reclaiming your sexuality thing is a little bullshit, and for me, because my sexuality has always been very clear for myself, and I think anything that's been traumatic that has come along to knock that off isn't a moment of like what happens to you makes you stronger kind of bullshit. It's just like, this is life, and shit happens to you whether you're in sex work or not. I don't know any fucking girls in my life, or a lot of men or people in general, that haven't had something happen to them that have made them uncomfortable, especially something sexually motivated. And I just feel like, what, like you said earlier, like, who am I reclaiming it to, or what? Like, who are you doing that for? Because I've had tons of trauma and things that have happened. Get in fucking line, because that's life to me. And that's like a very, like, I feel like it's a morbid way of looking at it. But when you have so many things happen to you over and over again, can you really sit and fucking cry over every single little thing? Like, yeah, you have to. I would say that, yes, going to therapy and like helping yourself and not pushing it down is very helpful. But at the same time, like, what else are you supposed to do? Like, I have a job to do. I don't have a choice to sit there and be like, my trauma is getting to me today. Like, yes, you do have that choice because you're your own boss, but like, when it comes down to it, like, I have to do what I have to do. And I don't know, I think about
you can't pay your rent with days off.
Exactly. And like, no one's gonna fucking come and take care of me and save me. Like, yeah, we have partners and friends and all those things, and those make things a lot fucking easier. Thank God for them. And I really like send anyone that doesn't have a community around them, loving vibes, because I can't imagine without it. Like, it really is difficult. But I just think that, and I'm not trying to say that like go claim your sexuality if you need, or your trauma or whatever, you feel you need to do in those moments. If that makes you feel good, then go for it. But I have spent years trying to reclaim my sexual issues or life or whatever you want to fucking call it. And it hasn't made a difference, because unless I'm willing to put in the work and make an effort for myself and, relearn the things and not be the crazy side of things that like leads me to a path of being traumatized. It's my responsibility. It just is. And like, that sucks. Like, I don't want it to be my responsibility.
And I mean, then in that, also on that same vein, like, I think in a lot of ways our experiences with other people are so similar, but then our responses, like especially as a sex worker, our responses are not that normal. Like, there's a reason we get paid so much, is because the average individual takes one look at this and goes, so hold on, let's math here. You mean to tell me that you were sexually abused for like a long time, a while, like it was bad, and then in order to remedy this, you decided to go into, you wanted to make, but what that is a very not normal response. Like, most people don't do that. You know what I mean? Like,
most people would stay away from anything that has to do with the sexual side.
I actually decided to lean so far into it. Like, we went all the way over here, and I was like, hey, that looks hard. Let's go there.
I said, healing. Oh, too far. Now I'm actually just in sex work.
And I think this is murky waters, and like, you don't want to say shit that people are going to take out of context and shit, but like, there are elements to the job itself that either make that trauma worse if it was already there, or that start new fires, brand new fucking fires that you didn't have in the first place. That like, workplace things are hard, but like there are unique things that come along with being in this industry that are fucking traumatizing,
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah, like a lot of the kind of one of the I wouldn't say this is like capital T trauma, you know, for me personally. I think my spectrum might be a little bit fucked up, but except Robitussin. I'd like to take today's sponsor. No.
Can you imagine we just have Robitussin as our sponsor?
Just a segue into a Robitussin sponsorship?
Yeah, no segue. Just Robitussin.
I think that's how people should do sponsors from now on. Don't say anything about them just in the middle of the podcast.
Be like, not even the middle of the podcast, middle of the sentence. And then just jump right back into what you were saying.
Right back into it. Do not comment on it. No, like little T trauma. One of the things that, as like a primarily a tease content creator, right? I learned very quickly that it was less about the performance or the quality of the performance that I was giving. Let's say I was doing a topless tease. That's what I was comfortable with. That's what I was enjoying. That's what I was putting out there. The push behind it was not what I was giving. It was what I wasn't giving. And even the people that maybe they weren't totally explicit about that, the thrill was that I would make a mistake. The thrill was that I would do something that I wasn't comfortable with.
Yeah. No, that's very true.
That's and I mean, it's not to say that people that consume tease content don't get their rocks off to enjoying tease content. That's totally a thing. But consistently, it was always that, like, when are you going to do this? When are you going to do this? And even for people that offer explicit, I think we've talked about this before, you know, if anything is off limits, that's what sells. You know, that's the thing. We want you to push it, right?
Yeah, when I think about the girls that would say, I hate ketchup, and then that would be what they'd have to take for shots from now on. Like, it'd be, you know, or any of those things. It's you know, the things that are the most taboo for you are the things that they want to see. And it doesn't really matter if you're pushing your own boundaries. There a lot, and I'm like you said, it's not every single person, and a lot of them do enjoy just tease content and whatnot, and like respect your boundaries. Yes, but there are a lot of them that don't give a flying fuck, and they don't care if you're traumatizing yourself while they get to see like a nipple. Like they don't give a fuck, and that's just, you know,
and a lot of this isn't. It's not explicit. We're talking about like tease content, but it's not necessarily something that I recognized as it was happening. I think it might not even necessarily be something that many of my consumers, my purchasers, my supporters, or whatever you want to call them, my members, they might not even necessarily have thought about it in those contexts either. But you can't deny that that's there. You know.
No, I agree.
And it's like it's a bigger thing, right? Like, why do we say like, oh, for his birthday he gets anal, right? Like, it's something that she doesn't want to do. So why is it a treat? Like, this is it's not true. This is not like necessarily an individual thing. This is like a product of something so much bigger. But when you're already fucking traumatized, it doesn't help.
Yeah, I think the lines are blurred for yourself if you are traumatized. Like, things that I did when I was younger and underage and stuff on the internet were not appropriate, and I wish that I had. I don't wish that I had anything that like helped me not do that, but now as an adult, I'm like, oh, like I really hope that like my future kids are protected from doing those things in some way, whether that's just me saying like, hey, you know, you post stuff on the internet, it's there forever. And like, I wasn't posting anything that was ever going to get me in trouble as like as a minor, but they weren't things that a minor should have been posting, but I was already so sexually like amplified. If that's the right way to describe it. But I was like, who cares? Like, you know, people will be like, you're not supposed to, like, don't post stuff like that. I remember Miley Cyrus did that Rolling Stones photo shoot where she had the sheet in front of her, and I did that on Facebook, and I had like friends commenting on it being like, that's really inappropriate, like there's creeps online, and I was like, I don't give a fuck, like I don't care if they see me. And at that age, that's just like, you don't have so then you jump into sex work right after that. Like, you didn't learn those lines, you learn them now when you're in sex work and you have to deal with someone that, you know, made you uncomfortable, and now you're like, fuck, now I have to say no, or whatever those things, those guidelines are for yourself. It's just I don't know.
And also though you just said, you know, fuck, now I have to say no, the amount of privilege in the option of saying no in this industry, right? Like, when push comes to shove, you can start off doing all the stuff that you're comfortable with, but when the paycheck starts to dwindle because people want to see that next thing, that's once again, murky fucking waters, because this is where people come in swinging. This is where people say you can't consent to sex work under capitalism, right?
But
also
fuck that. That's so not nuanced at all. You can't just blanket statement it. But it starts to sometimes be a thing. You know, that's the reality sometimes, is that the lines even of consent when a rent check is due get a little bit messy.
Yeah, when me and my ex were, you know, not sober, both of us were complaining to each other about having to do things. Like, it was, you know, but the drugs were more important, unfortunately, and that's just kind of sometimes how it is. Like, sometimes, you know, your rent is more important. Eating for the week is more important. And then you're like, can I deal with that trauma or the triggers that come with it? Because it's definitely not glitter moments. Like, they you know, they do hit in different ways. And sometimes you don't realize it until you're 10 years down the road and you're like, I can't look at myself naked anymore.
Yeah.
You're like, okay,
let's
who is that?
Okay, then let's talk about looking at ourselves naked, and then let's just talk about looking at ourselves in general. You know, or maybe never again. It's fine. We survived Tumblr. Do we really need to? Sure. At some point, like I heard, this is also generalization, but like I heard someone saying that like the porn performers that they know don't watch porn. Like they don't like personally watch porn. Can't speak to everybody. I haven't watched porn in a long time.
Like, unless it's like random Twitter things that I'm like,
yeah, like I mean I see it, but like
you're not searching, like going out of your way to look for it, and I don't either.
No,
I masturbate to the moon. Yeah, that's my girl. That's my
own imagination is fantastic.
Yeah, same.
It never
Pisces,
gets it
Cancer
wrong.
energy. I don't need a fucking movie in front of me. I'm good. I got nothing. A brain. Yeah.
And also if I actually
crazy.
have to just like, fucking insane, like loco.
Where you been, Loco?
And I always said that.
And I've always said that. Ashley T, we've both always said that.
We've always said that. No, we're both fucking insane. But at some point, like when you are overexposed, not just to seeing porn, but then like to making it, you start to say to yourself, if I have to see a pussy one more fucking time, I am actually going to step into traffic. You know? Yeah. Like the magic is lost in terms of like
there's no I don't want to behind it anymore.
No, like if I'm not enjoying something in the moment in my physical literal space right here in the 3D, I don't want to see that shit. Like
and I don't need it to come up in my brain later on when I'm trying to masturbate. Okay, I have enough. Yeah, exactly. I have enough.
I'm trying to do it on my own.
My intrusive thoughts get me by. I don't need a random pussy popping up in my head, just like, or a butthole. It's just, that's why Twitter is so hard to be on sometimes, because it's just
okay. So one of my best friends is not in the industry, like far removed from the industry.
You have other friends besides me? That's so weird.
Just one. Honestly, just like one though. Just one. Go
on.
Anyway, shut up. You have a friend now too. You also made a vanilla friend. Both of us have a vanilla friend. Non-industry bestie. It's like our token non-industry. Yeah. But I said
they're the token friend.
She was like talking about Twitter, like seeing something on Twitter, and I was like, it's so weird to think that like you haven't seen like your friends' assholes. And her and my husband were like, Ashley T. And I was like, what? And it's just, our experiences are weird. Like they're most people, weird. If they saw their friend's literal asshole on Twitter, would be like, what the fuck? And I'm like, nice, Kens, good job. Another many vids.
My asshole is not anywhere. She said this in multiple episodes.
Kenzie's asshole, you guys. Go find it.
Cannot find. That's a private. That's a private thing.
That's your private square. No buttholes.
It's my private star. Leave it alone.
I'm calling your asshole your private star forever.
And I've always said that. Isn't that so good? Now, if you're listening to this podcast right now and you have something that you're listening to and you want to respond but you don't know what to say, you just say, and I've always said that.
And I've always fucking said that.
Good.
That's good. That's perfect. Now it's in my brain. Now I'm gonna have to say, like, what the fuck you?
You're going to go downstairs to Mr. T and he's going to say anything. And you're like, and I've always said that.
And he's not going to get it and I won't explain. And then sometimes he listens to the podcast when he goes on like a long drive or like he has like something to do. And he's going to end up listening to this and being like, that's where that came from.
Another thing to blame me for. Corruption of his wife.
Yeah. We corrupted each other. We were both fucked up when we met each other, okay? Met each other. What happened?
I actually just turned into a robot. I'm literally trying not to cry because my emotions are just out of whack today. The other day, this has nothing to do with our podcast, but the other day my dad was like sitting
No, that is the podcast.
Yeah, true. Listen to stories about my dad. He was like sitting in front of me outside, and like my parents have 2 chairs and then a little couch area, and I was sitting on the couch and I was throwing the toy for Lily. There's like a little rope one, and I just looked away the last second I threw it, and I just whipped it down at him. Like, so hard, so much aggression, and he just looked up at me like, what the fuck was that? I was like, I'm so sorry. It was just so forceful, like, you could hear the slap of the toy on his fucking leg, and I was like, I thought I fucking hit him in the junk, honestly. I felt really bad, and I was like, oh, thank God.
Dude, anti-sex work will take this, all right? Some anti-sex work coalition, whatever the fuck you call them, so is going to take this, and they're going to say the bad about our industry, and they're just going to take that one soundbite of you saying, let me talk about my dad. Meanwhile, your relationship with your dad's like fucking great.
I know. It's so funny because, like, I have daddy issues, like, but they're childhood daddy issues. I don't have, like, the same thing with my dad anymore, but my brother has different words for them. He calls them, daddy issues, papa problems, and I think father fatalities or something. And father fatalities are the worst. Daddy issues really aren't that bad if your father just like faked his death and left you.
Yeah,
like, that's on site. So yeah, daddy
Papa
issues.
Papa Problems is my rapper name. If I ever become a rapper, I'm gonna call myself
it should
Papa
be,
Problems.
but like Papa Problems make like I think everyone has a Papa problem. You know, like we all have.
That's a mind. That's a grievance. It's like a
like your dad's just annoying. Like he's just stupid.
Problem. Yeah, like he's fucking annoying.
Daddy issues like I have a little like I might call a guy daddy in bed.
Yeah, like that. There's something a
little
little
like every guy I know, but it's fine. And then
father fatalities is like I literally don't have a dad.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, I've always said that.
I've always said that. Oh my god.
Anyway, back to whatever we were talking about.
Back to a word.
I don't have issues that have made me like worse off because of my father. Those are his own issues, not mine. And we've healed our things. And I think that it's talking about the bad. We can talk about parents and being in the industry. We talked about this a little bit, and that your mom had said, don't call yourself that, and that wasn't saving you or protecting you or doing anything good for the industry.
It was polite, but
when it was, but it's not necessary. And I think my parents tried to do the same thing, and they still do. They bought me a computer, and they helped me buy a computer, and they thought that I was going to just quit my job. They were like,
good for you. Here's a computer. You're like,
and I was like, oh, I'm done camming, but I'm still doing OnlyFans. And they were like, what? I was like, did you think I was just gonna like not have a livelihood anymore? Like, I don't really know what you guys were thinking, but that is the Papa problem.
Parental issues.
Yeah, just family stuff. I think that if you're getting into the industry, it's like a big, if you have parents and people that you're worried. Well,
I'm joking.
Yes,
I'm joking.
Born with, but like there are a lot of people that are in the industry that don't have to worry about their parents finding out, or they're a secluded person and they don't have to worry about friends and stuff. And that's something that both of us dealt with. I mean, someone sent my mom an email saying like, did you know your daughter's doing this stuff? And that's crazy. Like, but it comes with the territory and it sucks.
Yeah.
But
that's a big one. Like through the Cam Girl Survival Guide, that was such a huge one. A lot of people were like, how do I stop how do I make sure my parents don't find out? Some people will be like, oh, like I'm still living at home, but I'm trying to get out of my home. And I'm like, this is a kettle of fucking worms. And I kept telling people, if you are close with your family and you truly believe that they would disown you if they found out, don't do it, because they will find out.
Yeah.
And people's reactions to finding out can be horrible, like really fucking, you know, violent, horrible, like really terrible.
It's
literally,
it's not
life-threatening.
Joke. And people, I think the doxing of sex workers is obviously abhorrent and disgusting, but like it is not a surprise because you have all these people that are protecting their identities online. And I guess that was probably the only like good thing about me not using a fake name, was that I didn't give anyone a place to try and find anything out about me. Like, and that's I think that's one of the things that has kept me safe all these years, besides like the little things that have happened. And not to this is not me no victim blaming in this. Like, no one deserves to be doxxed or have any of their information put out, but I have never pushed anyone to a certain point where it would backfire me on that way. And I think that there are a lot of cam models that like the drama, and they fuck with someone, you know, to get money or whatever those reasons are, and it can backfire on you really hard. I mean, I have a close friend that used someone's card for years, and now they stalk them. Like, it's not a joke, you know? And like, yes, you're being a boss bitch and you're like doing all these things and you're getting all this money and you're like, I don't give a fuck, I'm eating lobster, you're eating ramen. That only goes so far before you're like fucking with someone else's life, and that can be a life-threatening thing for yourself. And I don't know, I just as much as I was angry,
shit gets sketchy.
As much as I was angry on the internet, I never pushed anything. And anyone that had like any of my information, like if I gave someone my address because I trust them enough to have them send me a package, I have theirs too. Like, if you blackmail me, I'm gonna blackmail you twice as hard. It's not, this is a trusting, equal side partnership. And obviously you do have to take that leap. You don't have to, but I have taken that leap with some people. I've never been fucked over because of it. I have people that I don't talk to anymore that, you know, still have my number or whatever, those things that I gave in the past. And maybe that's not a safe thing to do. Like, I know it's definitely like, I wouldn't advise it to other people, but I think like maybe it's just my ego of doing it for so long where I'm like, I'm fine. I'm not worried about someone in Michigan coming to like stalk me in Arizona if they can barely afford to tip me. I don't know anyone that lives in Michigan, but I'm just saying. So that's my.
But then, you know, and that's also like when we're touching on the bad, right? It's not just like, you know, harassment. It's not just like kind of, there is very real harm associated. You know, it's not just losing jobs, right? Like, and I think it's interesting because I've also kept, like, as far as things go, like a low profile, and I will never victim blame. You can do everything right and still get fucked over, right?
Yeah. So true.
But there have been instances where, like, you know, I won't say all of them, but a lot of like the heavy hitters, a lot of the whales, especially on MFC, like those big spenders, the early interactions I had with some of them, so many red flags. But as I was like dodging these fucking red flags and like pushing myself away, I was like, no, the bag, right? Because you let it go, you know, and you end up gambling to some extent, right? Like, if you want to feed in to sketchy scenarios because you know they're going to pay out, you can only really trust yourself so far, right? Because like shit can get hairy.
It really can.
Yeah, we've seen some fucking weird shit go on.
Well, we have, and I think that's obviously from being in the industry for so long, but also like it's so romanticized. It's so like fantasy, like, ooh, like you do online stuff, you stay home. Like, there's so many things that come with it that make it sound like it's a fucking fairy tale. And like having your privacy affected and stuff, and like your space is just, it's not worth it. Like, and I'm saying that as someone that's done it for this long, that I know it's just not. If you are worried about someone finding out, don't fucking do it. You can't wear a fucking bag over your head. Someone's going to be like, oh, I see that tattoo. What, that one picture of you in the background of some random fucking thing, and it was just half your face, and someone still recognized you. Like, and that's that wasn't even you doing anything online. So that it just goes to show that like you have to be prepared for those things, and those are the big things. Like, it's no joke.
No.
And then you have other people that like, we have friends that, you know, were put into a documentary made by some fucking celebrity, cough Rashida Jones, we don't like you.
Oh,
and
holy fuck,
she doxed them, and then she told them that it was because they wanted their 15 minutes of fame. Fuck that. Like, and that's not their fault. Like, there's just so many things that you don't have a choice in these. Like, yes, oh no, now I have to say no, but that privilege gets taken away real fast because it's the internet. And we were in that fucking random ass Amazon thing with that girl. That was so fucking weird. There's a video of us, and it's just us in a clip walking through AVN, but they were allowed to use that? Like,
yeah. Oh, also,
and
this is a good point. Like, to the AVN girlies, we should have mentioned this in AVN, but now that we're talking about the bad, journalists and reporters just wander around, and they are allowed to take photos. When you get your badge, when you sign up, you are consenting to having, like, essentially yourself used as material. And those people can use that material however they want. And a lot of people go in. I hate the like titillation factor that people use with sex work, right? Like, you know, they show up being like, you know, so why are you here? Right. Yeah. And it's like, why are you here, bitch? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, get the fuck out of my space. But yeah, your pictures and your images, like, there's a clip of us like walking through AVN, but it's on like an Amazon document. Like, what is this doing here? But that's how it happens, right? Like, you think you're posting, you know, you think you're safe within your bubble, and then it's bad. The bubble is hard enough, right? Like, you have to have thick skin to be in the bubble as it is. But when you get taken out of that bubble, it's way worse. Yeah, that's why YouTube is ass. That's what YouTube is not the bubble, right? Like,
no,
we're like,
it's not. It's the metaphorical spanking pad will come to get you and remind you that you're still in sex work and you don't have as much autonomy as you thought you did. Yeah. Like, sorry, but that's just how it is. Especially after 10 years, you're like, oh my God, I don't know if I actually have any anymore. But we also have made those decisions. I don't regret any of it. I think it's the same thing as the trauma that I experienced when I was younger. I don't have regrets over it because I didn't do it. It wasn't my fault. There's nothing to regret. I didn't make an action or choice and put myself into a position. Shit fucking happened. And honestly, it's the same thing with any job. Shit fucking happens, you know? But then because of any trauma or past history or the fact that we're in the sex industry, it's so much worse. But then no one says anything about those people on the side, on like street corners flipping signs for businesses, because that to me is sex work. You're using your whole body for that shit. Yeah. Sorry.
That sounds rough.
Just saying.
Like, that sounds physically demanding.
You're like, or a construction worker, you may not be having sex, but like,
you're getting fucked.
Not only are you a sexualized item in like outside world, but like you also are using
Kenzie,
your body.
Are you sexualizing construction workers? Stop. Those poor carpenters. Yo, I fuck with the blue collar though. Hell yeah, people that can build shit.
Yeah, hot.
Hell yeah.
Use your hands.
Yeah. Okay, wait. I have two random notes. I don't know if they're gonna fit anywhere, but I have to say
it.
Them out.
This is our podcast. Our podcast is our podcast. We do what we want.
Neither of us can fucking talk today. It's my podcast. I can do what I want. I can do what I want. So I was on the car today talking with some friends about the beginning of quarantine, when like suddenly work from home was now like a thing. And at first I remember watching this kind of like, oh no, oh yes, but oh no, because the initial relief of not having to go to a job, right? Like that whole like, oh, I get to stay at home and work. That was magical at first and so good for me, you know, because like being so burnt out, not having to have a boss, whatever, being at home was nice. But then I was like, you fuckers are about to learn a pretty brutal lesson called crippling loneliness. Severe, debilitating, emotionally crushing loneliness that comes with having no one to see and nowhere to go except for your computer. And I think like as content creators, especially as cam girls, because the time constraints for camming are higher than they were for like you can only spend so much time shooting content, right? Like, but with cam, the more you cam, the more you make, kind of, you know what I mean? The most money I ever made was when I was the loneliest. Like I was the most isolated, and it was rewarded with the most amount of money. And that's a pretty brutal cycle. That a lot of us, I think, end up finding out the hard way, kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's a very good point, especially during COVID. I think a lot of people obviously felt loneliness in extreme ways, but then to have a job that you can continue doing, very different than the COVID job scares that were going on. Like we didn't lose anything. We gained more. And I made the most money during that time too. I've never made that much in my life. And it was like like you said, he was rewarded for being insane on the internet once again.
Yeah.
But at least we know how to do it.
Yeah, exactly. We know,
Like,
we've done it for so long that either we're just like used to the isolation also, or like some of us just work well with it. Like I don't play well with others. It's a good thing I'm on my own at home for the most part.
I get that. Like I feel the same way. I don't know how, like, I don't know how to do a normal job. I'm very confident in myself that if I needed to, I could go do that. But like you said, I work very well by myself too. And I know how to do the things that I want to do. I don't want someone else telling me. That's why the fucking agency stuff is so dumb. Because I'm like, why would I ever? It's already like it's like a random person messaging you on Twitter being. I just had one actually. Some guy was like, I really want to start OnlyFans. Like, would you mind collabing with me? Who the fuck are you?
No.
Like, why would I do that?
Why would I do
that?
That's
But that's you know, I think a lot of people are experiencing loneliness during COVID, and that's why it was such an easy place for us. And thank God, even if it was traumatizing, because I couldn't cam during that time, and I know you couldn't. You were done.
Yeah,
you were tired, so it was just like.
Thank God for OnlyFans. Seriously,
yeah. Like they may have shit the bed in some ways, but they're not. I will thank them for the COVID times.
Yeah, and then now the friends I was talking to in the car, they're not industry and not industry consumers either. I don't think necessarily, but they were saying now that they have like this like flex or hybrid work thing. Some of them are like going back to the office a few days a week kind of thing, and they're like, this has been really great actually. Like I didn't really realize how badly I needed to like kind of get out there and have some sense of routine, and that's one thing that we don't get. Like there's nowhere to go, nowhere to be, right? Like other than what are you going to do? Continue to stay at home and like check your likes on things. Like it gets really heavy, and it's a part of like what goes into being successful for a lot of people is that like solitary grind, and that can be pretty fucking rough.
Well, I think it's interesting that you say that about like muggles being in a place where they're going, like able to kind of stay home and then go back to work and do in between. They're able to claim autonomy.
Yeah.
We weren't. Like sex workers, and during COVID, we were like, okay, fuck it. This is the time to like go balls to the walls because everyone's home. People are lonely. People are online, and they need entertainment. And what better way to entertain but to give you nudity?
Get naked.
Yeah. But we didn't. That we were like giving. I think I was giving my autonomy away. I was making so much content. I was burning myself out constantly, and I didn't even realize it. I was like literally delusional during that time. I remember calling you and being like, I'm just feeling so good. Like I'm just waiting for. I was absolutely manic, and I was waiting. I wasn't even waiting for the other shoe to drop. I was like, I don't think it's gonna happen this time. And you didn't. I don't remember you saying anything. Like it wasn't like you were like, well, like, or like, great, I'm so happy for you. It was just like,
I was also
okay. Well, I'm glad. Yeah, we were
very
both,
manic.
Yeah. And I don't think that like calling someone else during a manic episode when the other person's also manic to be like, I am actually perfect and everything in my life.
My God, me too.
So amazing. Yeah, and we're both like drunk by 11.
Yeah, really drunk by 11.
So yeah, I don't know. I think about the autonomy sides and the claiming of sexuality and all those things, and I'm like, COVID didn't really give us that space, but for some reason it was like I miss being able to make that much money. I miss people being lonely in that way.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But I don't want to go back to it at the same time. No. Like I'm good. I'm good.
Even we romanticize these things. Even we do.
Yeah.
In a unique way.
Yeah. That's very true.
Yeah, it can be. I think that's an area of stigma, especially toward our consumers. Some people that will demonize us and say that we like capitalize off of people's loneliness or we prey, on people's loneliness. And I think you want to be defensive of that. You want to say, no, that's not, ballpark. That's not true.
Yeah.
But to some degree, in some circumstances, it is true.
Yeah, we're shaking hands because why can't I be lonely too?
Yeah. Also that, and that feeds into a cycle. A lot of performers that don't disclose that they're dating or in a relationship. We've talked about this because the bag escapes to some degree for a lot of people, and there's that illusion of like chance and stuff, or even just camaraderie that like we're both in this, we're both lonely, we're both whatever. It still hinges on both people staying in that place, right? And again, this is not how everybody does things. It's not how I do things. But it's a part of it. It's a part of the bad of the industry for sure, is like continuing, like if you're, let's say that you're a member and you are really tight with a cam girl, you give her lots of money, like you spend lots of time, you're very in with the community, like, are you super incentivized to go out and find your own thing? You know, do you feel a responsibility to this cam girl? Like, you know, and for a cam girl, like, if someone's like really, really, really into you, do you discourage? Do you put a little bit of space? Do you try to be realistic about things? Or do you lean in to provide an experience, but also like to cash out, right? Like, you know, these things get complicated. I've actually, again, where is my mansion for living on my moral high horse? Okay, they're nowhere. But I have encouraged regulars in the past, like people that I were close with. You know, if they said, "Oh, I would love to like date or like whatever," like I'm really fucking lonely. You know, I've encouraged them to leave the sites. I've been like, "You're a good dude. Like, you don't, you know, if you're not happy here, like literally, I will gas you up for an hour if it means that you'll feel confident enough to go out on a date."
Yeah.
Right.
No, I completely agree.
But then they left, and that there goes my fucking paycheck. Right. Like, cool, good for me.
Yeah.
Bad for business.
I get it.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. But when you go to heaven.
Yeah, because that's where I'm going.
No, you'll have a nice little seat right next to me on my throne.
Oh, good. I've
got an appointment.
Well, as long as you're going, I'll go if you
I'll
go.
be there. It's gonna be a fucking party.
Yeah, it'll be great. Okay, we cannot avoid, if we're talking about the bad, we cannot avoid body issues in this. We can't.
I know.
We have to go there. Yeah, if you have an eating disorder or you are just really not super keen on like the way you look,
see it on the next episode.
This. That's all for today. We have no more time. A lot of people will say, you know, it made me feel confident, like it helped my self-esteem. Can I have some of that, please?
How did you do that? Yeah.
Can I? What the fuck? No, it was so bad. Holy crap! My anorexia was off the charts.
I know. I still deal with tons of body issues, and I mean, it doesn't. We both know it doesn't go away. It's something that you just deal with, and you know that's unfortunate, but it's just like a part of it. But I don't think that being in this job has made that any easier.
No, like when I look at, it's interesting when I look at my, like, you know how I stayed in the top 200 for, it was like 2 straight years. And you know, I was keeping track of no token days. I was keeping track of not top 200. I do not access this app anymore because I don't hate myself that violently. But I also did not miss a day of calorie counting for that entire time span. I have every single day for more than 2 years. That's sad. It made me so happy the other day. I was snacking on something, like my husband handed me something. I was fucking snacking on it. And I remembered, I was like, maybe that counts as being triggered. But I remember, I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. I don't do that anymore.
Yeah, I think it counts as being triggered, but I also think it's like a triggering growth moment where you're able to actually like
reflect,
see like the bad habit and still recognize it and be like, oh, it just popped up, but then say no to it. Like
being like,
that is growth. That is dealing with your health issues and your mental health issues and stuff.
And I also don't look at my naked or half naked body for a minimum of 4 hours on a live camera every single day anymore.
Yeah. That would
like, if that sounds horrifying, it's because it is.
Yeah. I have dissected my face too many times. Where now I'm like, I think I actually am an alien because I don't know what I look like.
Yeah,
but that's fine. I mean, I don't know. I'm used to it. That's not a good thing, but like.
No, it's not. But it's like not a bad thing.
It's fucking horrible, and it almost kills me every month. But I'm used to it. I know what it's gonna do.
It's like, it's fine.
I know the signs and like the things that pop up that make me feel uncomfortable with myself, and then I either choose. I think at this point, when I was younger, it wasn't as much of a choice. For the eating disorder was definitely more of my favorite metaphor is Cat in the Hat. You probably have not seen it, but the cat is driving And then the kids are sitting next to them. They're like, I want to drive. And then they have like 2 little steering wheels that pop out. And those are me. I'm the cat being the person that's in charge. But then I have all these other little drivers that are with me. And sometimes they want to take over. And I'm like, no, I'm driving. But you can, I see you. I appreciate you. I validate you for protecting me. But right now, I've got control of the vehicle. Thank you very much. And that keeps my mind in a place of being like, you know, my eating disorder does not have control of me. I have control over it. Some days it does have control, and I don't really like have as much as a fucking say in it because I'm aware that I'm not like trying to.
We love self-awareness in the midst of that shit. You're just like my metaphor is occasionally being like dragged behind the car.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes. And it used to be like, wow, I don't even know that I'm getting dragged behind a car. Why I'm in so much pain. And then now it's like, yeah, okay, they've got like 48 hours.
You've at least put a mat underneath you and you're not getting your fucking body scraped up. Like there's something that's and that's growth and evolving and shit. It doesn't happen overnight, and healing is not fucking linear, so it's going to be consistent and fucked up. And then all of a sudden, you know, one day you wake up and you're like, I actually can eat today and not look at the calories on it. And maybe tomorrow you won't have that same experience, but the fact that you did it once,
if you've got a day, just take it.
Like that's amazing. And that is life. Like, I was just talking to my friend about how he wants to move to a different place and get out of his job. And he was like, I'm really worried because I'm taking a big pay cut. And I was like, money will always come. Your happiness will not always come. So if you find it, run to it. Do not fucking wait for it to find you again. You go after that shit. And I think that camming, when I first started, was that happiness. I ran into it head first, didn't give a fuck, no padding or whatever, and was like, this is making me happy. Running out of it, same feeling. Like the minute that I was like, I'm done, I can't fucking do this anymore. I miss camming, and we both have talked about that. We miss, you know, the community and those.
I miss the good things.
But the way that I fucking ran towards happiness outside of that was like, I'm done. Like there was just no other choice. And why would you try and argue with that? Like your intuition knows. And I think that's one of the biggest things with being in this industry is following your intuition. Like,
absolutely.
It will save you multiple times.
And I will say, you know, this is also, I feel like we keep hitting we've hit a lot of the major like fight points, you know, because people will say, you know, that like camming or that sex work is like bad, you know, for body image, that, you know, that you're encouraging eating disorders by like displaying your body, especially if you have become quite thin, you know, if you start to look like a certain way, people will say, oh, you're promoting this, you're promoting that, you know, you're fetishizing all this other, other shit, or your body checking, you know, like all these posts. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I was doing. Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, and it's really fucking hard to heal in that environment. Like what I said, like if you're, you know, being dragged behind a car, you don't even notice, you know, you have no idea that the car exists. You're just there. You know, I think you're quick to say like, no, this has nothing to do with it. Right.
Yeah.
But like, it does. Definitely. Yeah. You know, sometimes you see industry girlies like, you know, they disappear for a bit, and when they come back, you're like, thank God, you know, like you look good.
Yeah.
Right. Like and not just you look good, but like, thank God you survived, you know? That's a huge one.
Yeah.
You know,
there's also the other side of that, you know, where they come back and they don't look good, you know, like it's like, you can tell that it's ran through them, and you know they're doing it because they have to at this point, not because they
shoot them up,
like,
spit them out, kind of thing.
Yeah.
No, it's a heavy, hard industry to be in, and that doesn't translate well to a TikTok, you know, where someone's like, I made 20,000 this month on Twitter, you know, like it doesn't. There's way too much nuance. Everything that's bad about this job can be weaponized against us. But if we don't talk about everything that's bad in this job, other people just fall victim to shit that could have been avoided, you know?
No, it's true.
Because if you don't even know what the things are, you can't protect yourself against them. Yeah.
I totally agree. And I think that's exactly what, you know, the pipeline from like being a minor and posting stuff online that you're not supposed to post, and then just immediately rushing into some sort of sex industry, whether that's even just like posting on Tumblr, because it's still, that was, you know, you're still going down that same street. Yeah. So, yeah. I think both of us might need a therapy session after this episode.
Yeah, probably. I don't know, fucking. I mean, I needed one anyway, but
yeah, me too. But for other reasons.
Yeah,
just for the crazy that is long lasting.
If you were to give any piece of mental health care advice to sex workers, what would it be? One piece. And you can't say go to therapy.
No, I was gonna say eat something, because a lot of my issues were just because I wasn't properly feeding myself, and you know, end up not feeling good, and then you're aggravated, and then you have to get online. So like, take your time to take care of yourself first. Go eat something. That's like, even if it's like fruit, something that's like gonna make you feel better. Don't eat a chocolate bar, because I've done that too many times, and then I just end up bitching at someone online.
Eat something.
Yours?
Probably take the break. Like, yes, there's always going to be pressure, and yes, it's extremely privileged to be able to take a break, but if you don't, the break that will come on you anyway is going to be worse.
Yeah, it'll break you.
Like, exactly. Yeah, take the break or you'll be broken.
Yeah, literally.
Take it. I think
take it from people that know.
Take it from someone who burns out fucking constant. Oh my god, chronic. Like I've been burnt. Yeah, no, not good.
Yeah, we have chronic burnout.
Take the fucking break, right? Because it will eventually take you. And a big part of that not knowing you're being dragged behind a fucking car. I've always said that.
I've always said that.
Yeah, you won't notice it unless you take a step back. Like, and when you do, shit can be good. Like, not being so fucking in it, you know, can be so good for your business.
Yeah.
Like, as much as, you can make money off of this cycle of fucking being disordered and not eating and fucking taking no breaks and being sucked into this. You can also make really good money if you have the like health and well-being to be a smart business strategist, to be able to do marketing, to be able to like come up with new ideas. You can be successful that way too. I've done it. Now I'm doing it. This is way better.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with you.
Eat something and take a fucking break. Yeah. Yeah,
it's worth it. Take care of yourselves, because
please do.
You're worth it. You know, you are worth it. That's another thing is also like having the self-worth and love to be like, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I need to take the break. Maybe I just need to go eat something, or maybe like also on the other side of that, there's be real with yourself and push it a little harder, because sometimes that's where I was. Like, I wasn't, you know, I was like, why am I not making anything? Well, bitch, you're not online. Like, there are different sides to it too.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
You know, just being real with yourself and, you know,
also not, I don't want to ramble on forever. We could just offer therapy at this point, but, you know, if at all possible, whenever possible, like, don't equate your self-worth to your rank, your OnlyFans percentage, your income. Like, it's reflective sometimes of like either the amount of time, effort, output you're producing, but it's not always like you. Like, you are not a problem or the problem a lot of the time. I'm sure, but not all the time, you know. That's why I think like having Ashley T as an entity, yes, very close to who I am as a person, right? But like being able to separate the two, you know, at the end of the day, being like that, yeah, sure, if Ashley T fucked up, then that's a marketing problem. That doesn't reflect like my person, my worth as a person.
Yeah, totally.
Being able to separate is pretty fucking huge.
Yeah, if you are a person that did well in school and you attributed your worth to your grades, maybe check yourself if you're in this industry for your rank and everything, because it happens. Case in point in case. Point at the case. And I've always said that.
I am the case, and I have always said that.
She's always
What
said
is the
that.
case? A basket. I'm a basket case.
Oh, wow! My tiny little basket.
Oh my god, can you put a little paper in there that says case? No, wait. Yeah, case. Put that in there. It is a basket case. Wait, what the fuck is a basket case? Why? What? Oh, hold up. Why is this a thing? Where does this come from? Basket case meaning.
This is case. Here is your case, and I'm putting it into the basket for you.
Thank you. I will. Okay, wait. No, now someone listening is going to be Googling anyway. A basket case is useless. A case for a basket, I guess that's kind of stupid. It's like a box for a box. Like, why would your box need a box?
Look up, why do you call someone a basket case?
Yeah. Why do you call someone?
The answer is just because they're crazy.
It's not giving me like the like history of this. Well, if you can figure it out, let us know. I'm too fucking crazy to search right now.
Yeah, just know that we are crazy.
Oh, I have a cramp in my thumb.
This says the origin was the originally U.S. slang denoting a soldier who had lost all 4 limbs and was thus unable to move independently. And I've always said that.
So it's ableist?
Yes.
Is basket case ableist?
I think so.
Oh no! Slur unlocked! Fuck!
Wow. Well, now you know.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us today.
Now we know. Thanks so much for joining us today on this episode of the Professionally Hot podcast. Go to therapy. If you don't have a therapist and you're a sex worker, look up Pineapple Support. They offer therapy to sex workers. This is not sponsored. They're just the best. And
if you don't have any of those things, just listen to us. We'll give you some guiding light in your life and maybe it'll work for you.
Yeah, or you'll just space out for an hour listening to the sounds of our voices. You're welcome.
Yeah, just... Okay, we love
Kenneth,
you guys.
bye. Love you. Okay, we're leaving now.
You.
I'm going to go journal or something. Bye.
I'm going to go edit this so we can have it up in 3 hours. Bye.
Okay, bye.